Okay, I think it's on now. Okay. Bruce Spinoza argued against dualism in some of the craziest ways possible. How did he accomplish this? Firstly, in Ethica Part 1, Spinoza asserted that only one thing exists, and that thing is God. Therefore, all other things are simply aspects of that particular substance. This is a quote from that work. A mode exists in something else through which it must be conceived, that is, it exists solely in GD, or God, and solely through GD can be conceived. If, therefore, a mode is conceived as necessarily existing in infinite, it must necessarily be inferred or perceived through some attribute of GD. Insofar as such attribute is conceived as expressing the infinity and necessity of existence. End quote. However, I have a problem with this logic, and I assume that most reasonable Christians would agree with me on this. If all things are pieces of God, then God isn't a very good God. Think about it. The earth is rife with murderers, pestilence, disease, and other things that deteriorate life and its chance of survival. In addition, the rest of the universe is filled with dangerous things such as black holes, stars, comets, and poisonous gases. Realistically, most of the universe is very uninhabitable to creatures like us. And even then, we're hardly safe on our own planet. Does that sound like the work of a benevolent God? Secondly, Spinoza claimed that due to the limited knowledge of the mind and body and their potential functions, as was known at the time, we cannot know how the mind and body interact. However, Spinoza declared that he knew the body cannot force the mind to think, that the mind cannot force the body into motion. In an attempt to prove this, he stated the following. Here's another quote again. So firmly as they can see that it is merely at the bidding of the mind that the body is set in motion or at rest, or performs a variety of actions depending solely on the mind's will or the exercise of thought. However, no one has hitherto laid down the limits to the powers of the body, that is, no one has yet been taught by experience what the body can accomplish. Maybe it's just me, but I find a huge fault in the placement of this text. If you want to argue for or against something, you should be able to find in your abilities to stay on your own side. Using the text above in a non-dualist argument is like letting a porcupine run around in a balloon shop. Both the passage and the porcupine are so out of place they are dangerous to the purpose of the argument or shop. If I had been around when the Ethica was published, and if Spinoza was alive at that time, I would have went to Spinoza's house, knocked on his door, and punched him in the face for daring to argue both for and against his own views in the same work. There we go. That's it.